and US. Our penultimate speaker this evening is Loraine Mponela from Coventry Asylum and Refugee Action Group. CARAG is a community group made up of and run by asylum seekers, refugees and volunteers. Over to you, Loraine, a warm welcome.
Thank you, Amanda, and thanks to all the speakers, Christine, Claire, and Zara Sultana, MP. Yeah, I'm also very happy to be here tonight to talk to everyone attending this meeting. I've been asked to talk on why right to food will bring added value to the city's existing food response. And I repeat, the right to food. What an odd subject to talk about in the 50th richest nation on earth. What an odd subject to talk about when we live in a world where we throw so much food away and we have the technology to make self-driven cars. Here is a simple solution for us, people who are in asylum system, people who have been refused, people who have been failed by the UK asylum and immigration system. Give indefinite leave to remain, or at the very minimum, the right to work. We'll be able to pay for our own food. Recently, there has been a court case slamming the government how they treat asylum seekers. And here are some of our experiences. We are given £5 a day for food, for breakfast, lunch, and supper. And it's not adequate. We have nothing left for fruits or vegetables. We do not have a choice when it comes to food. We all here know the consequences of food deprivation in children as well as in adults. It has been particularly very hard during the pandemic for people who are in the system as well as for people who are failed by the asylum and immigration system in this country. Even the food banks can only be helpful if you have access to kitchen. When people are refused their asylum cases or they put in their application late, they do not get any support. If you get a card, it has a very limited support on it. It really doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that not eating or not having access to food is not good for anyone. Lack of food is a threat to our dignity. I want to briefly tell you about our Right to a Meal project, which started last year, March 2020, when the pandemic just hit, and it is ongoing. With the support from members of the community, Coventry Community Stand Up to Racism, Sing for Change, Choir Unite, Coventry and Warwickshire, office, who have been donating cash, food, delivering, doing deliveries, initiative for cooks and soliciting funds. We say thank you for saving our lives. At the peak of the project, we provided 1 meal a day for 22 people, both men and women, 5 days a week. And we know this is not sustainable. We are exhausted. And the fact that we have to provide cooked meals just highlights the gaps in our society. We are seeing people now being made homeless again. Those who are receiving refusals will be added on top of those figures. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "Poverty is the worst form of violence." I like this quote. He wasn't wrong. It is violence against us. So if you want to see everyone in Coventry to live a dignified life, please support the Right to Food campaign, because it will support people like me and everyone else who is struggling. Right to food is an act of justice and solidarity. I'll share later on in the chat, especially on Facebook, about other campaigns that are also seeking justice and equality for everyone in this country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Loraine, what a tale to tell. Before we get to our final speaker this evening, I would like to give a warm thank you and shout out to Coventry Trades Union Council, who recently passed a motion on this Right to Food campaign. And also, Coventry TUC will be holding an International Workers' Day memorial event in Broadgate, Coventry at midday next Wednesday, the 28th of April. Please assemble around the Godiva statue, but please, of course, adhere to the latest COVID rules. Please don't forget to put your chats in the comments, to go to the Unite campaign page for how you can get involved, and also there is a petition to sign. Again, that link should be in the chat. So, last but not least, another speaker who surely needs little by the way of introduction. We now welcome Howard Beckett, Unite Assistant General Secretary for Politics and Legal. Over to you, Howard.
Amanda, thank you, and thank you for the invitation, and thank you for hosting us tonight. If I can start by referencing the contributions that have been made in the panel, Christine and Zara speaking for us in the political corridors of power and doing amazing jobs, both of them. But Claire, your contribution, your heartfelt contribution in respect of creating this food campaign is just it was tremendous, your contribution, and you should have no qualms at all about the way that you spoke. It was brilliant. You did yourself and all of those that you represent a tremendous courage. But Loraine, I was taken aback by your contribution and the manner in which you delivered it, and extraordinary to think that with asylum seekers that a food bank is no use if you do not have access to your kitchen, and your reference to how many meals and how many lives you've saved, and the reference to Mahatma Gandhi quote, and the simple reality of what we're fighting for here, the right to food. It's quite extraordinary, and I think if we take a moment to reflect on that, we had a right to water campaign in the Republic of Ireland a few years back, and I took time to step back from that to think about the mere fact that we were asking for such a basic requirement in society. And then through COVID, I've had to reflect at times that the right to life was actually written in the Human Rights Act. That somebody took the time to say, I will write in Article 2 of the Human Rights Act the right to life, the idea that somebody goes to work and expects to come home from work. And here we are talking about the right to food. And I think that many of us...
It's been a long time since I've heard that saying, Christine. Loraine, your closing comments, please.
Yeah, thank you. So I like to talk about our situation in terms of, for example, imagining yourself, you are in a glass bottle. You are confined in a glass bottle. You can see what is happening in your environment. You can see outside, but you are not taking part in whatever else is happening. You are just admiring from that inside of the bottle. That's how it feels to be an asylum seeker. There are rights out there, but they don't apply to us. So as we are now starting this campaign on right to food, let it be a right for everyone. Let's be inclusive in everything that we do in Coventry. And as we all know, food is life. We also want life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Loraine.